Yeah, almost done.
Right, right. I'm proud of you. You'll inspire others to do the same. Hi there, Diane. Still getting her audio together. Hello.
I have to put on another light.
Just another couple of minutes.
It's a little better.
Mhm. Here's Lois.
Hello.
Hello there. Oh, hi there, Sam. How are you?
Good, Don.
Hi,
John,
Donna.
everybody.
How's everybody?
Yeah,
Good, good. How are you, Mrs. Hooper?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
Good, good, good.
That's
We
good.
have
Nice to see everybody.
yes, yes.
we
Pennington.
have our friend Rosalind Crowder.
Oh, nice. Oh, hello. Thanks for being with us this evening.
Yes. Rosalind went to church with us today, and we invited her to come on over and enjoy the witness to history. And she said yes.
Very good. Very good. I
She said,
think we'll get started.
she said,
Turn that up.
pardon?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Witness to History. Welcome to Witness to History. Today is Sunday, January 12th, 2025. 25. Here we are, a new year, just 12 days into the new year. And we are welcoming you all here and hope that you all had a happy new year and that, this next year is just a blessing for all of us. And so we see as we are unfolding all of our wonderful Moreland neighbors on the screen now, we want to welcome Jakecia Durham as our guest this evening. And you all are in for a treat. I'm going to just thank a few people before we get started with the interview. Just once again, I'd like to thank Kevin K. Hi there, Kevin, for, being our partner here on Witness to History. 2020 was the year, and we're still going strong. And I'd like to thank Megan Hayes, who makes sure that our Witness to History interviews are posted on in the library's website. And I'd like to thank Carmela for introducing me to Jakecia. And of course, John Dutton, my partner here, who always makes this look so easy. And so thank you all for being here today. We're going to have just a wonderful conversation and learn so much and probably inspire a few people to think about looking around their own spaces and thinking about what we can do to do a little bit of upgrades here and there, because Jakecia has just an amazing story for us, as well as just to say she's also not only a resident of Moreland, but she also has a business in Moreland. So this is a really, unique and wonderful opportunity for us to get to know you better. So hello again, Jakecia.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here, and it's good to see some faces in our community.
Yes, yes. And it looks like Pennington is really in the house. We have here in Pennington, Lois, the Carmela, and Mrs. Cooper. Thank you all for being here. Well, as I start off our conversation, I always ask, first of all, I presume that you didn't necessarily grow up, you weren't born and raised in Moreland. So let me start off and, ask you, first of all, when and why did you move to the Moreland area?
Well, we initially moved to the Moreland area because our family was growing, and we were looking for somewhere to purchase a home because we were living in Woodmere. We were a family of four growing into five, and really could no longer kind of be in an apartment. So my dad was adamant. He's like, "You guys need to purchase a home." He was trying to help us do that, and he knew Janet Tribble, who actually owned our house before us, and was able to kind of uh, get the inside scoop that they were trying to sell their home. And so it was kind of history from there. And we purchased the house from the Tribbles and have been here ever since.
Oh, that's nice. When did you move? When did you move into your house?
When the year that my son was born, so 2012.
Okay.
So we've been here since 2012 when my oldest daughter was getting ready to start school. So she we moved in the year she started kindergarten.
Oh, nice. Okay, so your children have been into the Shaker schools.
Yes,
Very
yep. They've been in Shaker since the beginning. So
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But we're going to go back, a little bit even before you moved into the Moreland area. And you can, share with us just about your family, a little bit more about your background.
well, the my family is kind of like the core of, who I am as a person and my being. And so I would be remiss if I kind of didn't go back to talking about my core family, and they still are huge supporters of my family, me and my husband, and also our the launch of our business here in Moreland as well. And so they've been avid supporters of me since day one. And so I'm very grateful for their constant support and love. And so some of these images are of me and my parents. And I have one brother, and he also is still in Cleveland as well. And all of these are, photos from growing up. And, the one photo is my dad walking me down the aisle. And I included a photo at the bottom as well of one of my high school art classes.
Oh, okay.
I was have always been creative, have always been artistic,
Mhm.
and that was one of the things that was kind of like the joy of high school for me. And school was being able to learn new and creative ways to use our art as an outlet. And ceramics was definitely one of my favorite types of art, and I still enjoy doing it to this day. So I decided to include a picture of me from high school with one of my ceramic art pieces that my mom still has today.
Okay. Okay. What is the piece? I don't know if I can really tell.
It is it's actually a letter holder for like when you get mail. It's 3D, but you can also see like I did almost made it like a fish bowl kind of theme, where you can see like the ocean and the fish and some of the other components that are like of aquatic life. So I wanted to kind of give it that theme, and then the base at the bottom is like the ocean floor, and there's like coral and rocks and things on it.
Wow. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. These are wonderful pictures of your family, of your family. And so we will also meet your husband.
Yes, I met my husband at a very young age, and he's still one of my favorite people to this day. We met in high school, and the
Hmm.
top right picture was us at homecoming our senior year.
Oh, wow.
And he proposed to me when we were 23, and it's kind of been history ever since. So he's definitely one of my favorite people, like one of my biggest supporters,
Mm.
definitely my best friend in life. And so I would be remiss if I didn't give him a whole slide because he definitely deserves it.
Oh, that's nice. That's so nice. You said that your husband works in Shaker as well.
He does. He works. He's in charge of the warehouse, and so he has been in Shaker for about 4 years, but it's definitely been a good experience, and so we're grateful to be able to like live and work in our community. That's something we've tried to aim for a while, and a couple of years ago, he was able to get into the district. So.
Mm, definitely. So you graduated, excuse me, you went to high school in Cleveland Heights, right?
No, my parents actually moved out to Richmond Heights when I was in
Oh,
the 10th grade. So I actually graduated from Richmond Heights High School.
oh, okay. Okay. All right. Very good.
But I went to Cleveland Heights High School in the ninth grade and was in the Cleveland High School District all the way up to the ninth grade.
Okay. All right. Very good. Nice. Thank you for introducing your husband. What's your husband's name?
His name is Cameron Durham.
Okay. So I'm sure we'll see him around. You all are, living and working in Shaker. That's wonderful. I'm sure that a lot
Yeah.
of people would like to be able to do that instead of, taking a trek, getting in the car and going some distance. You
Yeah.
know, wonderful. Very good. All right, share with us. This is your well, okay. I want to go back a little bit
Okay.
because you've talked about, where your interest emerged as you were in high school. Maybe that ceramic piece was a part of
Yeah.
that, because you are an interior designer
Yep.
and many, many other things that we'll learn, about your background. And tell us what your inspiration was. How did you come about, this particular profession?
So my art teacher, who was actually she taught my ceramics class and my advanced art class, she was the first person to introduce me to interior design.
Mhm.
So in high school, I didn't even know what that was or what the field was, but I would always come into art class kind of having conversations with her about how I wanted to go into an artistic field, but my parents were concerned that I'd be a starving artist, and they wanted me to really have a career that would be able to sustain me but allow me to have the creative outlet that I wanted to pursue. And so Miss Bronfield was her name, and she actually, was like, "Well, have you ever considered interior design?" And I was like, "Well, what is that?" And so I started to look it up and look up schools that were good for design. And I never went back. I enjoyed it. I picked it up my freshman year and never changed my major. So I applied to Kent State, but I also applied to University of Cincinnati because they were number one at the time for the interior design program because of their cooperative education. And I got in. And so my dad was like, even though I got a little bit more scholarship money from Kent State, he said, Cincy is number one, go. And so I went to the University of Cincinnati and, never looked back.
Number one.
Yeah, it was number one for interior design in
Wow.
2003.
That
I think they're still ranked top 10, but at that year they were number one in the country for their interior design
Oh,
program.
wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, that's nice to know right here in Ohio.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah.
good. Tell us who these folks are in this picture.
So I went to DAP was the college, so it's the Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning College. And I had family in Cincinnati, and once again, my family has always been extremely supportive. So they've been there kind of every step of the way. They, once I went to UC, everybody got the UC gear, and
Okay.
we're kind of strapped down. But during my time at DAP, I also joined the architecture fraternity, which is Alpha Rho Chi.
Mhm.
And that really just helped me to make connections and friendships within the architectural community as I was starting to try to find my way.
Mhm.
my freshman and sophomore year. Um, Katie, who is in the picture to the left, was an RA with me.
Oh,
I was a resident assistant for 3 years until I started doing co-op.
mm,
And she was one of the RAs with me, and we always had a good time together. And um, she was a ball of light. So
mm,
I wanted to include her. And then my friend Julia, who's at the bottom right, was a roommate from AP in when I lived in the APX house, and she also traveled with me to Copenhagen, and so we grew very close together in study abroad, and we're actually still friends to this day. She lives in Cleveland now, and she also works at an architecture firm here,
mm.
and so we're still pretty close friends today.
Wow. She's not originally from Cleveland.
She's from Canton.
Canton. Okay, not too
Yep,
far. Ended
yep,
up. Oh, that's nice. That's
yep.
nice. Very good. Very good. Cincinnati, I mean, recently, and I've always known of the University of Cincinnati, but recently it has become a very popular destination. You know, I, you
Yeah.
know, obviously it's a great place for so many different disciplines.
Well,
Now,
the city itself has done a lot of really great urban development.
mhm,
Even from like when I was there, over the Rhine, which is kind of like their downtown area, the city really invested a lot of money into rehabilitating it and bringing small
mm,
businesses into the city.
mhm,
And even now, it's thriving in a way that's just very different and makes it a great just place to be, like downtown. So the city of Cincinnati has done a really good job of investing money and time into the city to make it kind of an artsy
oh,
destination.
very good. Nice, nice, nice. This is nice. Your family, like you say, everybody got the UC gear, huh?
Yeah.
Good. So what do we have on our next slide?
So as I spoke about before, University of Cincinnati was a top choice for me because they had a great cooperative education program. And so one of the privileges of that was an extensive study abroad partnership that they had with the University of Denmark. And so Copenhagen is where I studied abroad. And this is a picture of me in my apartment there. Um, I had one roommate. And the pictures to the right are kind of like our neighborhood. The courtyard at the top is where we had a lot of like community dinners. Like in Europe, a lot of the living is more communal.
Mhm.
And so everybody kind of cooks together, eats together. It's more of a community engagement. And some of the images at the bottom were photos that I would take on my walk or either bike to class. And so it was just a very walkable city. And it was a really good kind of cultural experience for me living there and being able to experience the culture firsthand.
Yes. Now, as co-op, I'm familiar with co-op. I used to work with the co-op program at Cleveland State, so I'm very familiar with it. And University of Cincinnati was the first university to establish co-op
Hmm.
education. So again, here in Ohio, the whole idea about going to school and then getting real world work experience.
Right.
Tell me about this whole idea about you going studying abroad to do your co-op. How it
So
came
when
about.
in studying abroad, I wanted to do it because I realized that in the field that I was in, design and architecture, um, uh, in every country, the views of how that is practiced is very different. And so I wanted to be able to get the exposure of the design world from a different cultural aspect outside of the United States. And in Denmark, part of the Scandinavian countries, they have a very specific design style, design aesthetic, and they've had a lot of really important contributions to the design community. And so I figured that studying abroad would be a great way for me to be able to get more exposure to different types of design, classical, um, kind of architectural styles that were very clean.
Mm,
So these images that are on the slide now are some of our day travels and studies to different, really kind of architectural landmarks in the Scandinavian countries. We did a lot of weekend trips to Finland and Norway and Sweden. And so this particular chapel, St. Henry's Chapel, is in Turku and was one of the kind of impactful places that we visited. And we were just kind of encouraged to study the architecture and sketch. And some of these images are from my sketchbook that we were encouraged to continue to document
mhm,
visually, like our travels and our studies and what we were learning about architecture and light and volume and all
mm,
the things that really help you to understand how buildings and spaces come together and what makes them dynamic and really kind of speak to people. So this church was really dynamic to me because of the way that light was used and how the shadow and light really kind of create a very spiritual experience without, someone even speaking. And so I thought this was really cool. And a lot of the chapels and churches there do a lot of play with light and shadow and how that affects people in a spiritual capacity. So it was very interesting to pick up on those kind of details and aspects about design and really learn from them and glean them into my own design practice.
mhm.
And so this is a photo of two of my studio mates, and this was a church that we visited as well in our studies, the Church of the Resurrection, which was also in Turku, Finland. And so we chose this church to do our studio project on. So we studied the background of the church, visited there, sketched it, learned more about it, and then we actually built a half-size replica model of the church. And so one of the images is the section of the building, and all three of us built that and put it together.
Okay. Now, what is the image behind the cross? I mean, tell us what
So
that.
that is actually vines from the outside. So it's really a connection, a spiritual experience of like the indoors and the outdoors. And so in this picture, you see some columns to the left. So the sanctuary actually opens out to a full garden on the right side. And so it's like a connection between the outdoor and the indoor and how nature
Mm,
also has its own effect on our spiritual kind of awakening or journeys.
mhm,
And so this was the architect's way of kind of um, trying to communicate that how the connection between the natural world and our built spaces can also enhance the spiritual experience.
yes. Now, where were your co-op mates from? You,
They were also from the University of
oh,
Cincinnati, but
okay.
they're from different places. So Andrew, I
Oh,
think, lived in Massachusetts, or he was from Massachusetts,
mhm,
and Corey was from Texas. So, but they were both architecture students. So they paired architecture students with design students
right.
to build the models together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about the connection between architectural students and design students.
Hmm.
When
And I
you,
I love that University of Cincinnati kind of had us together for a while because really in our field we work hand in hand together all the time, and so learning how to collaborate and work with architects and other tradespeople in our field was something that University of Cincinnati did pretty well of like showing us how to do early on.
Mhm. Now, when you do your sketches, how does this help you just in the long run? I mean, is this for you to interpret, what you see at that particular time? And I'm sure you still sketch a lot in your in your profession, but
Yeah.
as you were looking at these structures, just talk about the process of your sketches and some of the information that you have on these sketches.
So it really is about what are you taking away from the space. It's not necessarily trying to replicate exactly what's there, but what is kind of speaking to you through the space. And so a lot of these spaces, I really was able to pull away a very strong dynamic between light and shadow, and
Mhm.
just trying to emulate that in my sketches to be able to kind of take away of how having the sharp contrast between light and shadow can add a very dramatic type of effect, or create a dramatic atmosphere in a space. And so even at the bottom of these sketches, you can see like where
Mhm.
I would use like um, yellow color pencil to kind of um, display like where the light was coming into the building in section, and just thinking about the um, light and shadow in different frames within the space. So it was one of those things of like understanding what the design elements are doing to the space, and then using your sketches to kind of communicate that.
Mhm. This looks like I mean, it looks modern. The structure does. I don't
Yes, for
know,
sure.
but it looks very clean lines and all. It's beautiful.
Yeah, most of the Scandinavian architecture was very clean. Use of natural materials, so woods, concrete. It was really less minimizing the materiality and playing up, the spiritual kind of experience, and how lighting and shadow and the play of that affect that type of experience.
Mhm. This column here with I mean, then it emerges into the ceiling, or,
Mhm.
what material is that?
That's concrete as well as poured.
Concrete. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so they use like wood slats to create the forms. So
Hmm.
that's why you can kind of see that like ribbing in the concrete.
Yes.
And then they poured the concrete into the ribbed structures and then ripped the wood off. And so it was really a dynamic experience. It was very cool. That was a museum.
Okay. Yes. My goodness. I feel like I'm in the classroom. What's our next slide? I want to ask you, because we were looking at your sketches and all. So have you always drawn? I mean, as a child, I mean,
Yes.
did you have
I got
your
in trouble
sketch
for like
pad?
doodling on my, English papers. I would always have like designs all over the papers. And yeah, art has always just been like a favorite pastime. And I always kid with people like I did really well in school and like got most of my general education requirements completed by 11th grade. So my senior year, I was literally in just art classes and like math. So my senior year was absolutely a joy
Oh, wow. That's
because
nice.
I literally was able to just do ceramics and advanced art like all day.
Right. Delve right into it, even before
Right.
college. So tell us who you have in
So
these.
this was just some of the fun adventures we had in our study abroad. We visited Tivoli Gardens and had fun with some of our classmates. We also were able to take the ferry from Sweden over to Finland and kind of do learn. This was my first time learning about, jumping into the cold lake and then running into the sauna. I had never heard of that before. And, that's like a thing that's very common in Europe, in the Scandinavian countries. And it was just a very cool experience to kind of have with my classmates. And we did a lot of weekend and day trips, really just, exploring the culture. And this was a huge, huge time in my life of, um, pulling together experiences outside of the United States that I'd never had before. It was my first time really traveling international. And so
Mhm.
it was a great experience.
What are the arches here in the top picture?
That's Tivoli Gardens. So that's the architecture of Tivoli Gardens. And they have like a little mini amusement park there, but it was a place that we would go quite often. So it was fun.
I love the picture of your face here in
Yeah, that was like one of those like roller coasters that was there.
Yes.
We had to get that picture because
Right. Fond memories.
yeah, exactly.
Had you right at that moment. Wonderful. Have you traveled abroad since then?
I really have not done a lot of traveling abroad. Once we started having children,
Yeah.
most of our initiatives are kind of poured into them right now. But I definitely this is definitely something that in the future I want to pick
Mhm.
back up again. I love traveling, and loved studying abroad, and I definitely have a extensive bucket list of places that I want
Plenty
to
of time.
travel to and have experiences in.
Yes, you have plenty of time. That's wonderful. And you were there for how long?
We left because we were on quarters. So what
Hmm.
we did was kind of double up 2 quarters. And so that was pretty much 3 months per
Wow.
quarter.
That's
Because with co-op, you're able to put together 2 quarters, especially if you want to do a longer experience. So I also doubled up my quarters for Walt Disney Imagineering because that was also another move that you kind of don't want to do that for 3 months and then go back to school and then come back another 3 months. So the co-op program let you double up your quarters for co-op, if you wanted to do a more extensive trip.
right. So here we are in Disney in Florida.
Yes.
Yes,
So
tell us.
Walt Disney Imagineering was my last co-op experience. And it was it was great. It was my first job where um I was able to, I would say, be fully immersed in the design process.
Hmm.
So the beautiful thing um about Walt Disney Imagineering was that they, as they're building the hotels, the resorts, they have two um they kind of have two sides. One is the construction side and one is the design side. And so as an intern, you're able to see both. So they
Mhm.
have trailers out on site as things are being built. So you're able to go on site, be on an active construction zone, like literally 7 days a week or 5 days a week, but then also see the design component of like the ideas and the concepts coming together. And most architecture internships, you usually see like the design side, but you don't actually get to see the construction side. And
Mhm.
so this internship was really um critical for me because I was able to see how both of them work together. And it was my first time like on an active construction site and really getting to know like the project being built from the ground up. And so I loved about Disney that they have kind of integrated into their design process of really knowing how to tell the story. And we know, Disney does a great job of that in their movies and shows, but they also kind of take that same culture and implement it um, into their buildings and their
Mhm.
their experiences for um, people that are visiting the hotels. So I was able to be on the Animal Kingdom Annex project.
Mhm.
And so that project, I was able to help with, the restaurant and some of the other design components, really seeing, the narrative and then illustrating that and using that for inspiration to um, build the design together. So the fireplace screen that you see, that illustration at the bottom right, that was one of the sketches that I put together. I did literally like 50 or 60 sketches of what this concept could look like and proposed it to the team. And they chose this one. And the picture in the middle of the screen is the actual finished product that is
Mhm.
on site. So
Oh,
we used a lot of inspiration to kind of get the concept together, but it was my first time being able to like use that in real life outside of school. And that was definitely a life-changing experience.
right. I was going to say, how did you feel? I
Yeah.
mean, everybody sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom was like, it was like her proud moment, like, oh my God, you
Yes.
really have something at Disney.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so it was definitely a great experience, and I still have, friends down there now. One of the ladies who's in the picture to the left,
Mhm.
we still communicate to this day. And that was almost, 15 years ago. So she this was a great experience.
Looked like you were having fun.
Yeah,
The-
that was the holiday party before I left.
Okay. No, now is this a map in the middle?
That is actually the floor plan that I did a rendering for
Mhm.
the restaurant that's there.
Oh, I
We
see.
were like it has like a concrete floor, and we were trying to emulate kind of like the African marketplace and how they have different cultural aspects integrated into that. And so we did a couple of renderings trying to mimic that and really recreate that experience for this restaurant.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then I see you had a little bit of fun with Winnie and
Yeah. Yeah. So while I was there, getting to go and just kind of enjoy Disney, I had always been a Disney fan, really since I was young. And so Winnie the Pooh was my favorite character.
oh,
So that was a great opportunity for me to kind of immerse myself in childhood um, experiences.
now these images in the middle, the lower middle, the two images there,
Yes.
those.
Those were part of the inspiration that we drew from some of the African culture
Hmm.
that we used in inspiration in some of the things for the front desk design, some other elements within the hotel that really, like I said, this was my first experience kind of taking real life research and like how the impact of African culture would could be utilized to inspire this um experience in the hotel.
The the drawing you have reminds me of I teach an African culture class.
Mm,
And a wonderful textbook that we use is an online textbook called The Bright Continent. And it
mm.
has so much of the artwork in there. And it reminds me so much of the artwork that I see in that book. This is beautiful. Thank you. Disney. So you did two major co-ops, Disney and Denmark.
Yep.
Wow. All righty. What do we have coming up next? Here
So
we
next is my family. After undergrad, I moved back to Cleveland, and we kind of started our family, and I started working in an architecture firm in Cleveland. But our family has kind of grown since then. Our oldest child is 16 now, and she goes to Shaker Heights High School. She is a wrestler and um, an award-winning wrestler at that.
Oh,
She just had a tournament 2 weeks ago. She placed second, and then she also had a tournament in December where she placed first.
oh,
So she's a brave soul. Um she's the only girl wrestler at the high school, but has continued to forge on and make their program, try to develop a program for the girls to have a solid program there. So we're proud of her for doing that. And then we have our middle daughter who is at the middle school, who will be at the high school next year. And she has started to pick up tennis and is a theater kiddo who will be in the Wizard of Oz. The middle school is doing the Wizard of Oz this spring.
okay.
So
All righty.
yeah, we're proud of her. And we have our son, Xavier, who's the youngest, and he actually has been doing Master Mars for quite for a couple years, I think 3 years now, and is also very interested in theater. So Shaker has also provided our children with great experiences, which is something we connected with early on when we moved here. And I was grateful that they would be able to get some of those experiences
Mhm.
even before college that
Yes.
were similar to my college experience. Our oldest daughter, Zoe, is getting ready to go on the orchestra trip to Italy.
Mm,
So that will be a great experience for her to, be able to travel international even before she graduates
mhm.
high school. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. They try
yeah,
to make sure that as many students experience that as possible. And
yeah.
I'll see the other pictures and the dress you have on the making the comment. I said, "Oh, your dresses look alike." And then I realized that you all have the same.
Well, we bought an African fabric that we really really liked, and so my friend is a fashion designer in Cleveland, and so she made ties for the guys and a bow tie for our son, and so that was a fun. We've tried when they were younger, we really tried to capture them year by year because they change so quickly.
Yes.
And so I think for the first, I don't know, 8 or 9 years of their life. We have photos like that every year.
Okay.
And, when COVID hit, we kind of slowed down a little bit, but, we're starting to pick that back up now.
Beautiful family. I wonder if there are any colleges that have women who wrestle or
Oh,
wrestle.
yeah, they do.
Okay.
Baldwin Wallace actually just started a program this year.
Oh, okay.
And there's quite a few, but once again, I mean, she does rowing too, but those are things that she's kind of looking at. So
Okay. All right. That's wonderful. Beautiful family. Beautiful.
thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. And a little bit about what you do at Tri-C and Kent State as well.
Yeah, so as a design professional, um I haven't always just, practiced interior design and been in the architecture field. I've also taught as an adjunct professor at Kent State and also did quite a bit of work in the Tri-C interior design department as well. And so um you know teaching has always been something that's been integral in my family because both of my parents are educators. So we kind of grew up seeing them teach folks and transfer information. And so, as I started getting into design, I really, this was something that I was just kind of gravitated to. And, you know, um, working with students to kind of uh, advance their own voice in the design field has been something that I'm passionate about. And even in my practice as an interior designer here, giving opportunities to kind of minority, marginalized groups that don't necessarily have the support that they need in order to advance in the industry, using our studio as an opportunity for them to have that. So we have interns that we take on,
Mhm.
and we partner with Kent State and Tri-C to let students, intern and have opportunities in the studio to get that exposure.
You're offering them just what you had when you were in college.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. So tell us about your business. You're in the
So
make.
Desire Designs has been around technically since 2011. I started part-time once I was teaching because I still wanted to practice as I was teaching, and I the business grew, and around 2017 I decided to take the leap of faith. I left Tri-C, where I was there full time, and
Hmm.
went into the business full time. And so at that time, I was practicing out of my house
Okay.
and um, didn't, it was just me. So I was practicing building the business, building the brand, and started, just getting exposure and building up clientele. And in 2020, when COVID hit, my business actually boomed.
Oh,
So
wow.
it
Oh,
got
that's
busier, it got
wonderful.
busier and busier. So I literally was working all through COVID.
Hmm.
Um, and the business was growing. And by the time COVID was over, I was busting at the seams. My basement was full of all the things that were the business, and it was really just time to move out. And so in 2022, we moved to a co-working space in Beechwood, after not having success, finding a space here. And so actually, can you go back to the previous slide really quick? Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. But the most of the work that we kind of do is really based in assisting both residential and commercial clients in design. So we work with residential clients in Shaker, surrounding areas, but we also do a heavy amount of work with commercial companies. So, we have clients that are have small businesses that are moving into spaces. We've helped, counseling offices, law firms, things like that. So we really do a fair amount of both residential and commercial work, and really have kind of honed in on love working with mission based organizations. And so we've done a lot of work with Shaker City schools and rehabilitating older spaces, and trying to put the funds that people donate to the Shaker Heights Foundation to good use for all the students, so that way they can have innovative spaces that allow them to continue to advance with technology and things like that. So we really do an extensive amount of residential and commercial work in the business, and that was something that I definitely wanted to keep as a main part of Desire Designs, because as I started taking um you know incubator classes and like growing the business, people were like, well, you really should choose whether if you want to do commercial or residential. And I
Okay.
wanted to be able to keep my hand in both, because as we bring on people that are learning here, it really is helpful to be able to learn both sides of the business, because they're
Mhm.
very different. How you work with residential clients is very different from a commercial client,
Mhm.
and getting that exposure to both is not something you get very often, because either a firm is all residential or they're all commercial. And so being able to get that exposure is really, I think, integral in learning the design industry, because then you're able to kind of see, the pros and cons of both. And some people gravitate more towards one side or the other. But I really love both. And, you know, both of them have, their pros and their cons. So
Nice, nice. So you are located right on Lee and Hampstead.
we just
Huh.
last year we just moved into the Moreland neighborhood, and we were bursting at the seams at our co-working space in Beechwood, and
Mhm.
our team had grown. We I think we were up to like 3 other team members at that point, and we were like in this little office, and all 3 of our desks were like smushed right next to each other. And so we were really, looking and praying for a space to be able to grow. And I was adamant I wanted to be close to home. I didn't want
Mhm.
to get a studio where we would have to travel extremely far, or um, where
Mhm.
it would kind of be out of the way. We really wanted to be in this neighborhood, and God opened the door for us to be here through a relationship that my husband had. And um, so the picture in the middle with the orange and yellow columns and ductwork was what the space looked like when we first
Oh,
got
okay.
in here. It was like literally in its raw form.
Okay.
Uh, and we worked for a solid 6 months in like dust and debris and construction. And
Mm.
the images to the right are as we started to transform the space. We painted the ceiling. We did a lot of interior renovation work.
Mm.
And 1 year later, we just got our official sign. So we've got our illuminated sign now for people to see from the
Yes.
street.
I told you I noticed the sign and I said, did I miss it before? Or, was I just not paying attention? So I guess I saw it
No,
when it first went up.
yeah, we just got our sign 3 weeks ago,
Mhm.
so we consider it our first year birthday gift. We partnered with the city in their storefront program, and so that was a great addition to kind of make us a staple on the street. So we officially had our studio open house in April of 2024.
Mhm.
And then Shaker Life recently did a
Yeah.
feature on us this past fall. which was great to kind of introduce us to, the Shaker community officially and let people know that, we're here to stay.
Yes, and it's interesting as I was behind on reading my Shaker Life magazines, right? And I'm leafing through and I'm like, wait a minute, I think this name rings a bell. Okay. So I met you through the magazine before
Yeah.
we had a chance to talk. So that was a wonderful, wonderful article. Now, how many staff members do you have?
So we have two full-time people that are in the office, and then I have a part-time design assistant who works virtually. So our team is, three full-time and then a part-time person. And we're hoping to eh, in the next couple of weeks we'll be bringing on another part-time person to kind of take over our sourcing and procurement. So our team is growing, but we really appreciate being in the Moreland community and kind of getting the support from the community.
Appreciate you living here and having your business here. My goodness.
Yeah.
This is really important to the Moreland community. I can imagine that you have a vision. What is your vision for your business and where you want to take this? Where do
So the vision for Desire Designs, I joke it's constantly in formation, right? Like because the plans that I put together, in organically, it ends up growing into things that were bigger than what I was expecting it to be. And so for the future, we're really looking to um, start to partner with some local artisans to bring in some retail components to the storefront of
you-
home goods, candles, things that you can use in your home that we will be potentially using in our designs and
Mhm.
offering that in the community and really starting to partner with some local minority artisans who already do these things and already have the products. We're just looking to really be that kind of connection and marketplace for those home good products. And so those retail efforts are something we're going to be working on in the next year, but we're really looking forward to just continuing to make the streetscape of Lee Road shine and continue to advance the storefront. We recently just won the storefront contest,
Wow,
so
congratulations.
we have the bragging rights on Lee Road, which we're very excited about.
Uh-huh.
But that's one of the things that like we just love about living in Shaker and being able to work in Shaker, continuing to beautify our own community and bring shining lights here, especially as Lee Road starts to go through its transformation process. It's something that we were really wanting to be a part of, especially since we are Moreland. And so I feel like having the representation of who Moreland is, not only in residents but in businesses, is really, really important. Um, and some of the work that we're doing with some of our clients, the images in the middle are, excuse me, a recent project that we're kind of wrapping up now with Birthing Beautiful Communities. We were the interior design company on the project, and that project is actually set to break ground in 2024, in spring of 2024. And we're really looking forward to seeing the vision that we've helped to pull together for that organization come to life. So
In 20,
that's just kind of
you mean 25?
what'd you say?
You said 24.
Oh, I'm sorry, 25.
Yeah,
Yes.
25.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm still in the last
Yes,
year.
right. We're still last year.
Yeah.
It's
So
January.
yes, spring of 2025, we will be breaking ground for that project.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the things that we're, kind of involved in. And we've got a lot of other really amazing, development projects that we're working on that we really like to engage with bringing, community and culture together in the architecture and design that's represented in those communities to make sure that they actually work for the people that live there.
My goodness. You're gifted. Beautiful. So, what would you say? Are you 50% commercial, 50%
Yes.
residential? Pretty much
Yes.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah, we really are. And it depends on the year sometimes because like in 2024, we were probably like 60% commercial.
Mm.
It just depends on, what the work is that year. And the year before that, we were more residential. So
Mhm.
every year it kind of fluxes a little bit, but I would say average, we're about 50-50.
Okay. Okay. I would imagine during COVID, people started looking around and saying, I'm going to get this done.
Yes.
I don't know how long this is going to last, but I am here looking at this.
Yes.
I think that I have time to do it now. Well,
Yes.
that's really a good story, though.
Yes.
But so often what we hear, businesses really struggle during COVID.
Hmm.
We wouldn't necessarily think about some that really, for reasons that seem pretty logical, people were looking around saying, well, I'm looking at this space and I think I might take advantage of, the time at that particular.
Right.
And we have people online. Does anybody want to ask any questions? During the time, I don't know if during the time that you were doing renovation, there were, you concealed to the outside. I mean, I drive by, that building, just, it's just interesting. you know, and there would be times, and sometimes I would just say to myself, well, what's going on in there? What's going on in there? I think Carmela helped me with that. She was like, okay, well, that's a Shaker resident who has an interior design business.
Yep.
Does
Yeah,
any,
we didn't really conceal the windows. We just kind of went at it and
yeah.
started renovating, and we're kind of in a fishbowl here, so we've got eyes open, and
And that's
but
where
now
you,
we've got it to a point where it's decent in here now.
yeah, you're there now
Yes.
as we speak.
Yes, I'm in the background. The brick wall is,
Uh-huh.
our connecting to our neighbor. So
Uh-huh.
this is kind of like my second home since it's around the corner from
Yeah,
Pennington.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Anybody have questions?
I'm
Hey,
Comments?
Don,
I'm
I
excited
have
all
a,
our
Oh,
Pennington.
somebody's chiming in.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This is Darlene Hooper. I don't have a question, but I do want to say congratulations. We're very proud of you,
Thank
and
you.
so proud that we live on Pennington, close to you. I'm a little disappointed that I'm not more aware of your business, and I can tell now just where it's located. Unfortunately, I'm in that area so seldom. I had not observed that you were there.
Yeah.
And you've been there for how long?
We've been here since December of 2023. December of 2023.
Yeah.
So just over a year. It hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long.
Mhm.
Did you take over the space where that other guy was? That other
No,
art
he's
guy?
behind us. He's behind us. So we're in the showroom in front.
Oh,
And Matt Wright, who owns the building, he's his engineering company is MWW1. He's actually behind us in the garage area. So
okay, okay.
we have our businesses like together, and we're just the ones who are out in front,
Mhm.
visible for everyone to see now.
Okay. And what kind of things do you do for residential?
We've done anything from like build outs, kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations. We pretty much do a little bit of everything. So
All right, we'll give you a call.
See there?
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Carmela, I see you.
oh, yes. So one, I will say, Jakecia, it's been a joy living around the corner from you. Um, I didn't realize it had been that long.
Mhm.
I've watched your little ones grow up, and you all have been, or just watching them grow up, it's just been fun. Um, but I do have a question for you because I imagine that every designer, like an architect, has a signature, I would guess.
Mm.
That's something unique to them. So I would ask, what do you have one? Do you have a signature? And if so, what is yours?
So that's funny that you say that because that's one of the things that is actually a pet peeve of mine about design is that in my experience, design shouldn't be like you shouldn't look at a space and be like, oh, Jakecia designed this. Like it should tell the story of the people who live there, the people who work there, the people who inhabit the space. And so I feel like I've done my job if I've been able to tell your story so effectively that they can't even tell it was me. And so that is I would say my signature of wanting to leave a mark on design that isn't indicative of who I am as a person, but of my ability to translate your vision, your your really kind of personal interest and personality and implement that into the design. And so, I've worked with designers who are, have like kind of the signature thing and it always just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm like, design isn't about me. It's not about what I can necessarily um leave on the project, but how I'm leading you to, what you ideally need the space to be.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's interesting. See that now I'm going to watch HGTV with a different eye.
You know that's right. Oh, thank you, Carmela. I know Diane said that she has a question.
Oh, she's muted, I think.
Diane, you're muted. There you are.
Okay, my question is, yes, congratulations on your business and everything that you've been doing. My question is, when you were studying in school, did you have courses in business and interior design? Because, or do you have just a natural knack for entrepreneurship? That's what I was wondering.
That's a great question. I did not have one business class in undergrad. I took a
Oh,
real estate class to learn a little bit about real estate and homes in general, kind of like value aspects, things like that. But jumping into my own business has been just as much of a learning experience as, learning design itself. And it's something that I'm constantly learning and adding to my knowledge daily. I did have a good amount of um, like accounting kind of business savvy because my mom was very savvy in that way. She was just very organized in that capacity. And so some of that I just gained from, childhood experiences, but learning how to have a business, work a business, it be profitable is still something that I'm, constantly learning new every day. Um, in the summer of 2023, I actually graduated from the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, and that program was a huge assistance to me in understanding some things structurally for the business that I needed to enhance in order for the business to grow um, in a healthy way. So I'm constantly still learning about that and, trying to balance the things that I don't know about business and how to implement that with the design side. So it's definitely something that I'm still learning very much so. And um but I didn't get like any official classes or training when I was in undergrad. So
wow. Well, you're doing very well. Your instincts are working. Even the fact that were in that course last year in 2023, that you gravitated to that. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you. Just to
Thank
let
you.
you know, Jakecia, Diane is my sister. Okay.
Ah, I can kind of see the resemblance.
Yeah, she's here with us.
But there was
Yeah, there's a chat.
a message in the chat and I responded. So I put our website in there if you
Oh,
want to
yes.
visit our website. We do have a website.
It says, congratulations on your business. I'm behind on my Shaker magazines, but we have an issue with your story. Okay, and then you have the website there, so everybody can, check out the website.
Yeah.
Yeah. Questions? Any other questions?
Hello,
Oh, this
can you
is,
hear me?
yes. Oh, yes.
Hi.
Iris?
Yes, a
Yes.
little raspy, but yes, it's me. Hi, Iris Anderson. Hi, Jakecia. How are
Hello.
you? I am so impressed.
Oh,
You are, it's just amazing to me. I was wondering how long it would be before someone, in particular, a female of color, would come along and get involved in something that it's construction related, but not construction related. And my second question is, do you have any plans to offer internships for high school students in that
so
area?
yeah, so currently we do, and we are active participants with the YOU program in Cleveland. We've had several interns through that program as well. And we have been in communication with Shaker's IC program, and we've
Mhm.
had interns from there as well. So we mentor high school students, we mentor college students. We had a high school student and a college student this past summer. So that is definitely part of our model and something we constantly want to be doing. Our office manager here has been working with me to develop a more robust internship program so that way we can have students every quarter, every semester,
Well, that's wonderful.
just being able to get hands-on experience within the studio and just kind of seeing what we're doing day in and day out and seeing how things work. So
Yes,
we
yes.
definitely are, that is like integral to the framework of the business, is making sure we're able to work with students and kind of pass on the knowledge, pass on the experience, and give them support. Because I know
Yes,
as an intern, having very supportive internship environments were the best learning experiences for me.
absolutely.
And graduating from college, I didn't always have that support system like as a entry level employee. And so that's one of the things that I hope that our studio can also provide as well.
That is absolutely wonderful. And again, I congratulate you.
Thank you.
I'm
Hmm.
sure there's a lot that you and Iris Anderson could talk about, right, Iris?
Absolutely. And I want to offer that up to you.
Yes.
Okay.
That's an
Iris,
environment I've
are
come
you a
from.
Pennington person too?
No, actually, I live on Shelton. I'm next door to Donald White.
She's right next
Okay.
door to me. But Iris has a lot of experience as a woman in a field that was dominated by men,
Mm,
construction industry.
got you.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, she was a pioneer, that's for sure.
That's
So
awesome.
right in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
IEA Electric, is that right, Iris?
yeah, that's IEA Corporation as I branched into other areas.
Mm-hmm. There's a
Very
lot to
cool.
share. Very good. Any other comments, questions? This was just, whew, this was fabulous. This was wonderful. I really felt like I was a student, kind of vicariously going to Denmark with you and all. That's just absolutely wonderful. And, again, for you to kind of pay it forward, you were at Tri-C, you have mentees now, and
Yeah.
you, you can really see the difference, obviously, that you're going to make not only in people's homes or their commercial spaces, but just in the lives of young people,
Yeah.
coming. I think it's interesting too, the whole point that Tri-C has an interior design program. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an associate's degree program.
Yes.
And while I was there, I was working very extensively to try to get kind of a transfer program to Kent State so that students who wanted to take their 2 year um, certificate or associate's degree could use it to transfer there. So um, yeah, they definitely have a program, and we're still very active in taking interns and things like that.
Very good. Well, what a way to spend a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
spending time with us this evening. And, thank you everybody for being with us this evening. And I'll, say my commercial here. Always looking for guests for Witness to History. And so, anybody who lives in Moreland or has a business in Moreland, or both, are welcome to be our guests on Witness to History. John and I are here for the duration, right, John? As long as folks are willing, I'll speak for myself. But John is my partner. But, as I mentioned, we have passed our 50th Witness to History program. So, we're going to just keep on going as long as folks are willing to be our guests. And here's my number and my email address. My number, probably calling me is better. My email, takes a while for me to get through all the emails. So, if anybody has any ideas or neighbors that you can suggest and introduce me like Carmela introduced Jakecia and I would really appreciate it. And so I can tell you to mark your calendar for February 9th next month. I just can't tell you who our guest is going to be. But we will be here on February 9th, same time. And I hope everybody enjoys this month, this time. And looking forward to Martin Luther King Day on January 20th.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Take care. Thank you again, Jakecia. Thank you, everybody, for being with
Thank
us.
you.
All righty.